guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers and Blowers. Welcome to another episode. Beautiful day today here in Long Island, New York. Welcome. This is a Toro recycler, personal pace model, rear self-propelled, auto choke, but the engine is a Loncin engine made in China. For a period of time, Toro contracted Loncin to make their engines for their push mowers. Used to always be Briggs & Stratton. You would also see Kohler XT675 engines on here, and even Honda engines. They use all kinds of engines, whatever suits their financial budget for that specific year. Loncin engines are actually pretty good for a Chinese engine. They're well known in China and is really a famous brand, unlike the Powermore engines. Anyway, I got this mower for free from my friend Robert from Holbrook when I went over there to help him level his deck on his Craftsman LT1000 lawn tractor. We fixed that. He had picked this off the street and gave it to me. What's wrong with it? We troubleshooted it briefly at his house. It's missing the air cleaner cover. That's going to be tough to find. I also saw it on eBay for like $45 for the whole assembly. If you think I'm spending $45 for a cover, you're nuts. Also, the bail control cable works, but it's frayed. Actually, one time we shot ether into the carburetor. It did fire up and continue to run. So I think it's just the choke mechanism. I think the carburetor is relatively clean because it runs on its own smoothly. While the engine was running, we did check to see the self-propulsion. It did not work. So we're gonna have to fix the frayed cable, fabricate a cover for the air cleaner, figure out what's wrong with the choke mechanism over there, and why the self-propulsion doesn't work. Other than that, pretty good mower. So it's a multitude of problems. It's a close-up look at the frayed bail control cable. The way the cable system works with the self-propulsion on personal pace models is that over here, when you push this down, it pulls this cable. As you can see, there's no cap here, and it is wide open, the flap, if you can see. So the choke should always be spring-loaded closed. That allows the engine to start on choke. And then when the auto choke mechanism, the thermostat, heats up, it pushes a linkage that opens the flap. But right now it's always open, which means it'll be hard to start. Not that my driveway is clean or anything. You want to prevent any leakage of oil. What's one of the reasons why self-propulsion doesn't work? Maybe the belt came off. Tip it on its side of the dipstick so that if oil drips out from the crankcase, it only goes into the muffler, which you can easily burn off by running the engine. If you flip it on the side of the carburetor, your carburetor could get filled with oil and then you'd have to clean it. Tipping it over reveals what? It's what it doesn't reveal is a belt for the self-propulsion. The belt's completely missing. Also, last time when we tried it, after you shut off the engine seemed to shake a little bit. And I suspected that it's missing an engine mounting bolt, which it is indeed missing. I suspect it was removed so that you can easily remove the busted or worn belt. So we're gonna have to find a belt for this 22-inch wide self-propulsion. Also take a look at the blade. What's wrong here? These are the atomic blades that come stock. They're kind of like mulching blades, stock from Toro. This part here is supposed to be lined up with the blade. So this needs to be removed. The plate needs to be bent so that it's straight, because you can see it's bent. So there's quite a lot of things wrong with this. We can start with that. I'm gonna have to find a bolt that fits this thread, get a hammer to hammer out the bent part to make it straight, get an impact to remove this, find a belt that will fit that pulley. For you newbies out there that don't have an impact, get an impact. 5/8. You think you'd be able to get it off with a ratchet and a block of wood that fast? And that wasn't even that fast. So here you go. You got the blade. It's in decent shape. Could use a little bit of sharpening. I will sharpen it since I have it off. Not off. Off. As you can see, the plate here that keeps the blade onto the adapter is bent ski. Gonna hammer that out straight. This adapter here that also has the pulley for the drive, it's hard to remove. I'm probably not gonna try to remove it, but I will use channel locks to kind of bend this back into shape so that it holds the blade nice and securely. Also, I need to find a, looks like 1/2 inch bolt. It's usually the big threads for engine mounting. While we have this off and that off, I'm going to try to fit a belt through here, through there, to the cover. Oh man, it's back here. That's a pain. I forget, it's rear wheel drive. So I have to remove this to get the other pulley on the other side. It's a pain. I'm feeling around over here to make sure that the cable is attached, and it is. So if this turns, if this pivots like that, from pushing that, we know that it's not the cable. Does it move? Yep, it moves. It doesn't return very well, but it does move. So out of all my bolts, I did find a bolt. I sharpened the blades. Bang that straight. This was really hard to bend. I couldn't do it. But it seems like it's molded the same curvature as the blade. There's the bolt that I found. 1/2 inch, fits the threads. I have an entire area here full of belts for push mowers. Slip it in here so you can access the pulley. Slip it through in here and try to slip it over that transmission pulley. As you can see from the transmission pulley, there's a cover to it that keeps the belt from coming off. To remove that cover, you have to take off that Torx and that Torx to remove that top cover so you can slip it over. Because as it is right now, you can't get it off. You can't put the belt on without removing it. There's no space because the axle's there. So it's absolutely incredible. You can't get to that. You can't remove that plate that covers the pulley unless you remove the entire gearbox cover. I took all the screws off. It's plastic. I can't get the cover off. It's like Loctited on there or something. So now I'm thinking, I'm gonna remove the entire transmission to get to the top of that, because there's 4 Torx that goes downwards, which you have no access to without removing the entire transmission. I'm thinking about taking the baffle out, the wheels off, trying to figure out how this transmission would just come out. It's certainly easier than trying to pry this off without damaging this plastic cover, see? Crazy, crazy. Ridiculous. Remove the entire rear end just to slip the belt on. Because look, as you can see, this metal plate cover, there's no way you can slip a belt on without removing this top. This top is affixed by Torx there, 2 Torx there. And that's if I have the right size. What if I have the wrong size? I have to do this again? It's ridiculous. I suppose I could have just disconnected the cable and rotated it like that to get access to it. But I didn't know that until I took this whole thing off. But anyway, what a pain in the balls just to change the drive belt. It's crazy. Who designed this shit? And of course, the screw that holds it on is a square pattern, just so you can't do it yourself. Bastards. This is so no regular person can work on their own shit. But of course, I work on this shit, so I have the square one. It's the same kind you use for decks. What do you guys think? Isn't this pretty ridiculous? All this just to change the belt? It's just crazy. So I have it fitted on there just to, I was testing to see the length of it, and it seems like it's okay, all right? Because it would suck if the belt wasn't the right one, it was too short or too long or whatever, and I had to do all this shit again. It'd be crazy. Anyway, so I wanted to show you this. You can't get this part off without removing this. See? I could slip it off of there, but then you'd have to put this cover back on. So you'd have to put on the belt first, here. Then fish it through here. But it would be too tight to get over here. You can't stretch it to put it over this adapter. So you got to take the adapter off to be sure that once you have it secured to here, you could fish it through, but you'd still have to fit it over the crankshaft. And with this adapter here, there's just no way. There's no slack. So you got to remove this. I wanted to show you a better way without a puller to get that off. There you go. Pretty cool, huh? Now you can just pull this off like that, see? Or slip it back on. So now remove this again, put the cap on. Look, remember I said that before I should have just left this on and just rotated this? You'd still have to remove the baffle, which is just as many bolts to remove the rear end, so there was no way to do it. You'd have to disconnect the control cable to engage the transmission. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to pivot this. Or remove this cover because it hooks on to this cover like that. It's just, just to change the belt. It's insanity. Well, you know what? I did it because I'd like to remove everything just to see how it works. It's just the way I am. I like to try it just to see if I could do it on everything. So this was a learning experience for me. I'm glad that I at least put it on video so you guys could see how crazy over-engineered this is. It could have been so much easier. They could just design it better. There you go. The most ridiculous belt change ever. taking apart the entire rear end just to put the belt in. We haven't even got to this yet. As always, the choke is open. I have manually closed it. Let's see if it starts and if the self-propulsion worked after all that. That should be a video by itself right there. Oh, I'm not even done. I have to reconnect this. All right, maybe difficult to start. Let's see. Amazed that it started on the first pull, and there's no smoke. We had it on its side several times. Now the choke is open. Now we got to address that. The choke stays open, never closes. All right, now we're going to address the carburetor choke issue. The choke should always be spring-loaded closed. See? It's open. This lever over here, I've never seen a lever like that before. It appears to be just very gunky, like a lot of debris is on the spring, so it doesn't pop back, see? Now it pops back after I'm moving it a while. But that spring was actually not even connected to this arm, so it wasn't giving any tension at all. But now, it's still sort of gunky. There's a lot of oil residue there too. Just clean that up a little bit. Blast this spring area. Look, now you can see the spring. After studying this carburetor for quite a while, wondering why it sticks, look, I'll move this so the choke opens and it sticks there. Look why it sticks. Over the years, vibration, it has made a groove right there. Push that down, look. See, there's a divot there, catches the choke flap right there. So I have to smooth that out so it doesn't catch. And you can do that by taking the flap out, pulling this up, and I use a Dremel tool or a file and file that smooth so that you no longer have that divot there that catches like this. Right there, see? It's stuck right in that groove. So you can pull the choke flap out. Remember the orientation. Where goes the orientation now? I don't know. You can pull this out, but the spring, you have to remember where the spring went. I'm going to hook it on temporarily over here. Now I'm just going to smooth this part out. All right, that worked great. I also put some oil on the joints. So look at this. Always close choke. Then when you start it, because it's going to be easier to start when you have the choke on, right? Engine's running. Thermostat pulls this open naturally. It runs normally. Now it doesn't catch. Crisp. That was a new one for me. I could not figure it out for the longest time. So I couldn't for the life of me find any air filter covers that matched. So I made my own. Took some plastic, whatever, cut it out in shape. Got this pre-filter, it's thin enough to use. Just close it up like this. It'll do. Doesn't look great, but I ain't paying $50 for a new cover. You know what I mean? Gets the job done. So now what I did was, because this brake cable is frayed, I routed another good cable that's long, and I wanted to attach it to this one. So instead of doing that, I'm going to try one of my new things that a subscriber sent me. It's one of these things where you can make your own Z-bend. I'm going to try that. So you make sure that the bail handle is up, so it gives you the most wire. Put this in there, put the Z-bend in there, pull this tight, and then you just screw this screw that holds the wire. And this is a 9/32. That's in there. And then you'll cut this. And there's your homemade Z-bend. Son of a gun, it works, but I want to pull it all the way. It won't let me pull it all the way. That's the problem. It should have been looser. Damn it. So I'm lucky I had like a 1/4 inch extra wire in there. Loosened it. And now if you can hold this flush along this handle, it's completely working now. So we got a brand new homemade control cable that's been repaired. Got an air filter cover over there that's homemade. We fixed the self-propulsion. Changing that drive belt was crazy hard, crazy complicated, over-engineered. And the last thing we have to do is on this side, there's a hole in the chute deflector or the mulch plug cover. So I do have this thing, but it's from an MTD and it's only one hole, one bolt. That one has 2 small holes.
That's what she said.
It still works. It just has a hole in it. So I was getting ready to take a picture of the mower on the lawn and came to empty out the bag. And the bag has like this pocket filled with grass. And I have no idea how it got in there. I might have to cut that, let it come out. stuffed. There's a whole pillow here full of grass. No idea how it got in there. I took the bag out of the frame, flipped it inside out. Did you guys know that it looked like this on the inside out? I mean, it's disgusting, but look. There's a 3-inch pouch of grass in here. I'm gonna cut a slit in the back. See if it comes out. I didn't have to cut a slit. Did you know that there's a side entrance? I didn't know that there was a side entrance. You flip it inside out, there's a side entrance that goes into this side. Just dumped it all out. Unbelievable. Yeah, you see, you learned something today. All right, it's finally finished. That's still drying. I'm gonna take some black paint and spray it over. Just washed it. Let's hope it starts. Sounds good. Maybe the RPM should be adjusted a little. $2.38, Home Depot. That's right, silicone is paintable. Fixed! So how about it, guys? We did a ton of things to this thing. Fix the belt on the self-propulsion was the biggest job. Had to remove the entire rear end just to get the belt on there. But the personal pace, self-propulsion, rear-wheel drive works great now. I had to make my own cover because I'm not paying $49 for one. It's okay. Not great. Patched up the hole on the side mulch deflector chute cover, and we adjusted the choke flap, which was sticking. Other than that, runs great. Adjusted the RPM, washed it down with some super clean, rinsed it off, looks pretty good. Emptied the pad-filled pillow in there. Didn't know that there was an entrance in there. Now the bag doesn't feel super heavy, empty. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was quite a lot to do. Remember to like, share, and subscribe so that I can continue to make small engine content like this one. I'm gonna now mow my lawn in time lapse. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers and Blowers.